violations. He has failure to comply bench warrants from 2010 and 2007. He has multiple failure to appear bench warrants. He has a misdemeanor conviction for leaving the scene in 2007 and a DUI conviction from 2010. So the state is asking for monetary bail, also due to the violent facts of the case, as Your Honor read in the PC sheet.
Right. Yeah, I'm familiar with the all of the files for each individual we'll see today. Does the public defender have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. In speaking with Mr. Haynes, he does have a PMP hold. He's been on parole for 9 months. He does have a full-time job and a place to live. He just completed Crossroads. Now, we did try to call his sister. Unfortunately, we're unable to verify any of this. These were all based on his representations. My ask would be an OR release, as he can't afford any bail, so any sort of bail is going to be de facto detention, Your Honor.
Well, the facts are pretty concerning in this case, so I agree with the state. His bail is going to be set at $15,000. No contact with the Silver Legacy, Mariana Alvarez, Garza Chavez Asai, as well as co-defendant Jessica. The fact that he drew a weapon on these individuals is of most concern.
I ain't drawing no weapon.
Stay quiet. All right, also, you'll be subject to testing, shall not possess firearms or weapons, and you'll have pretrial supervision. All right?
All right, thank you.
Right.
Hopefully you can read my crappy hand. All right, next individual is Perez Medina, followed by Guillermo Ortiz.
Miss Interpreter, these are your cases.
Thank you for letting me know. Señor Pérez Medina, señor Guillermo Ortiz, ustedes son los siguientes, yo soy su intérprete.
Okay.
Is the state ready to proceed?
¿El Estado está listo para continuar?
Sí.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state is asking for a nominal amount of bail to be set with pretrial services supervision and testing for alcohol. The reason for the ask is
Hold on, Ms. Valencia.
oh,
Yeah, we have
sorry,
the
thank you.
interpreter. You can interpret, please.
Thank you. En este caso, su señoría, el Estado está pidiendo por una cantidad nominal de fianza que sea establecida con servicios previos al juicio, supervisión, pruebas por alcohol, la razón que se le está pidiendo.
Is because the defendant currently has an ICE hold and the state wants to ensure that he is brought to future court dates.
Please interpret.
Y la razón es porque el acusado actualmente tiene una detención de inmigración y el Estado quiere asegurar que él es llevado a fechas futuras de tribunal.
In my experience, if the defendant is released on his own recognizance and the hold remains in place, the jail needs permission from the federal government to bring him, and so the state is worried that his case would linger.
En mi experiencia, si el acusado es liberado bajo libertad provisional, bajo palabra, y la detención permanece en lugar, la cárcel necesita permiso del gobierno federal para traerlo, y así que el Estado está preocupado que en este caso, en esto, el caso perdurará.
And the defendant does not have any criminal history or any indications of failures to appear.
Y entonces, el acusado no tiene algún antecedente criminal o alguna indicación de incumplimiento para comparecer.
So the state is asking for $500 bondable or 10% cash.
Así que el Estado está pidiendo por una fianza de $500 o el 10% de en efectivo.
All right, Mr. Watson, do we have a response?
Yes, Your Honor.
Señor
Hold on one
Watson,
second.
¿tenemos una respuesta?
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. We would submit on that request by the state.
Vamos a presentar esa solicitud por el Estado.
All right, so the bail will be set at $500, subject to daily alcohol testing and pretrial supervision. Please interpret.
Así que la fianza estará establecida en $500, será sujeto a pruebas de alcohol diariamente y supervisión previos al juicio.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
next is Ortiz
Yep.
Guillermo.
El siguiente es el señor Ortiz Guillermo.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
All right, Ms. Valencia, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
¿Usted está lista para proceder? Sí, su señoría.
Your Honor, the state is asking for $25,000 bondable with pretrial supervision and drug and alcohol testing.
Y el Estado, su señoría, el Estado está pidiendo $25,000 de fianza con supervisión previas al juicio y pruebas de alcohol y drogas.
Based on the danger the defendant poses to the community as reflected in the facts of the case.
Basado en el peligro que el acusado impone a la comunidad, como reflejado en los hechos del caso.
And his criminal history, which dates back to 2003.
Y su expediente o antecedente criminal que se regresa hasta la fecha del 2003.
Of note, the defendant has his DUI misdemeanor conviction for DUI second in 2025.
Nota de que el acusado tiene su delito menor de manejo de conducir bajo los efectos del alcohol y las drogas con una condena en el segundo grado en el 2025.
And he has a failure to comply and failure to pay in 2023.
Y él tiene un incumplimiento de cumplir e incumplimiento de pagar en el 2023.
He has a felon in possession of a firearm conviction from 2022.
Y él tiene un delito mayor de posesión de un arma de fuego, una condena de un delito mayor en posesión de arma de fuego del 2022.
He also has a failure to comply arrest from that year and a conviction for driving without a valid license.
Y él también tiene un incumplimiento de arresto de ese año y una condena de manejar sin una licencia válida.
He has another DUI second misdemeanor conviction from 2019 with probation violations and a conviction for driving on revoked.
Él tiene otra condena de un delito menor en segundo grado de manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol o drogas del 2019 con infracciones de libertad probatoria y condena por manejar en revocación.
He has another failure to appear warrant out of in 2018.
Él tiene otro incumplimiento de comparecer a una orden judicial en el 2018.
His first DUI conviction from 2016,
Su primera condena de manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol y las drogas del 2016
and a felony conviction for larceny from a person in 2004.
y una condena de un delito mayor de una persona en el 2004.
So the state is asking for a high monetary bail due to his criminal history and the danger he poses to the community.
Así que el Estado está pidiendo una fianza alta en efectivo debido a su antecedente criminal y el peligro que él pone o implica a la comunidad.
All right, Mr. Watson, do we have a response?
Yes,
Señor
Your Honor.
Watson, ¿tenemos una respuesta?
Yes, Your Honor, in speaking with Mr. Ortiz,
Sí, su señoría, y hablando con el señor Ortiz,
we did get a reference, but we were unable to make contact with them.
obtuvimos una referencia, pero no pudimos contactarlos.
I believe that the charge here came in as a DUI third.
Creo que la acusación por la que está aquí es una manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol y las drogas en el tercer grado,
But I believe that this would be a DUI second, as the first DUI was in 2016.
pero creo que esto sería un manejo bajo los efectos del alcohol y las drogas en segundo, como lo fue el primero en el 2016.
And I think that's relevant because that takes it from a mandatory prison charge to a misdemeanor.
Creo que eso es relevante porque lo lleva de una obligación, de una acusación obligatoria en prisión a un delito menor.
So while I understand the state's concern for safety of the community,
Así que mientras que entiendo la preocupación del Estado por la seguridad de la comunidad,
I think some conditions can be fashioned to ensure safety of the community.
pienso que algunas condiciones pueden ser modificadas para asegurar la seguridad.
I think based on that, a scram device would be appropriate.
Creo que un dispositivo de monitoreo sería apropiado
Or an OSM device would be appropriate.
o un dispositivo EMS sería apropiado.
And then whatever conditions you would also find appropriate, Your Honor.
Y también cualquier condiciones que usted, su señoría, determinaría adecuadas.
Well, I do need to correct the record. He did have 2 prior convictions for DUI. Please interpret.
Necesito corregir el acta. Tenemos 2 condenas anteriores, previas, por manejo bajo los efectos del alcohol y las drogas.
In addition to the 2016 DUI, he had convictions in February of 2020 and July of 2025. Please interpret.
Más a la manejo bajo los efectos del alcohol y las drogas del 2016, tiene 2 condenas en febrero del 2020 y julio del 2025.
He ran a red light and he admitted to the officers that he was drinking 5 minutes before the stop. Please interpret.
Y se pasó una luz roja, un semáforo en rojo, y él admitió a los oficiales que estaba bebiendo 5 minutos antes de hacer el alto.
It's considered a high risk when reviewing the DUI rant. Please interpret.
Es considerado un alto riesgo cuando se revisa la pelota o la situación, el problema de los manejos bajo los efectos del alcohol y las drogas.
As a result, he is a safety risk to the community. Please interpret.
Como resultado, él es un riesgo a la seguridad de la comunidad.
So his bail is going to be set at $25,000, residential confinement, fitted before release, and it will be a SCRAM or OSM device. Please interpret.
Así que su fianza será establecida en $25,000 con confinamiento en su residencia antes de ser liberado y será con un dispositivo SCRAM o con el OSM.
He'll be subject to testing, no driving without a driver's license, registration, and insurance. Please interpret.
Será sujeto a pruebas, no manejar sin una licencia de conducir, registro y seguro.
He'll also be subject to pretrial supervision. Please interpret.
Usted también será sujeto a supervisión previa al juicio.
All right, so that's the last interpreter, correct?
Just confirming at the jail, no other interpreters are needed.
No, Your Honor. We don't need him.
Okay. All right, thank you, Miss Interpreter.
Thank you for using the services. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, next
Please
is
hold for an interpreter.
Shepherd.
Your Honor, we had her on for yesterday.
Right.
She refused today, so I just asked for an interim bail at this point.
All right. Valencia.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would ask for $2,000 bondable with pretrial services and testing.
We need to address the public defender on her too.
Yeah, because we still don't have one,
Yeah, you have the application from yesterday.
right? So I have it.
Okay.
So I've already appointed a public defender for her.
There wasn't an application for her.
I have one right here.
Okay,
I signed it.
perfect. Okay, so then I'll just leave that. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I've also appointed a public defender for Ms. Shepherd. So,
Okay.
so right now I have her interim bail at 2,000, subject to testing, pretrial services supervision, and she's been appointed a public defender based on my review of the file. Okay. All right. How about Jessica DeHaven? Followed by Tiffany Jefferson. All right, Ms. Valencia.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state is asking for $10,000 bondable for this defendant, a no contact order with Narayana Alvarez or Acai Garza Chavez, stay away from Silver Legacy, and no contact with her co-defendant, Jonathan Hayes. I'd also be asking for a no firearms or weapons clause and pretrial services supervision. The reason for my request is based on the danger the defendant poses to the community. Based on the facts Your Honor read, the state is concerned with the presence of a firearm and the violent actions of the defendant. I do recognize she scores a 5. However, the state is still concerned for the safety of the community, and that is why we're asking for monetary bail.
All right, do we have a response?
Yes, Your Honor, so,
Sorry.
sorry, Your Honor, I just had a technical difficulty. In speaking with Ms. DeHaven, this looks like her first lifetime arrest. Also, we were able to contact, her husband and verify some information. She does work as a social worker. She has her master's degree. She's been a counselor for the last 10 years, 10 plus years. We were able to verify her address. Also, we got her phone number from her reference. So really her MPRA score is a 1, with the only point coming from her age, which is 32. Being this is a first lifetime arrest, I don't think there's a threat to the community. I don't think the state has shown that she'll be a threat to the community. I do understand that there's allegations of violence in this. I do think a no firearms or weapons clause is appropriate. But she does have work later today and has work tomorrow. I think it would be appropriate to release her on her own recognizance with no weapons, no firearms, and any other conditions that you would find appropriate.
All right, were you able to verify her address at 7092 Strauss Drive?
Correct, Your Honor. She's lived there about a year, but she's been in the Washoe County area her whole life.
And then is her employer ACCS?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm gonna set her bail at $5,000 or 10% cash, because I believe some amount of bail is appropriate given the facts in the probable cause sheet. She'll have no contact with her co-defendant Jonathan Haynes, Silver Legacy, Mirana Alvarez, and Garza Chavez Isai, I believe it is ISAI. Shall not possess firearms or weapons, and she'll be subject to pretrial supervision. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is
Good
Tiffany Jefferson.
You'll talk to me briefly. Okay, sorry. Okay.
Followed by Carl Sabo.
So, Your Honor, Miss Jefferson, I was really unable to talk with her, but I believe in talking with the state, they were going to OR her. I was going to ask to continue this a day, but I'll let the state say what
Okay.
In Your Honor, that's correct. Based on the allegations of possession of controlled substance and trespassing, I was going to not object to an OR with a stay away from the Grand Sierra Resort, pretrial services, and testing. The main concern for the state was the defendant doesn't have strong ties to the community, and she did score 6. I was hoping to get information based on where she lives and an assurance that she would be able to appear for her future court dates. It's kind of unfortunate she isn't here right now, but that's the state's position. Her criminal history reflects more substance related crimes, including a DUI conviction out of California. She does have a misdemeanor conviction for willful cruelty to child, but that's from 2009. Otherwise, she has arrest for PCS sale and transport from 2003, but that was dismissed. So based on that information the state has, and she did have a deferred judgment in 2011 where she did drug court where it looks like she was successful. So that would be the reason the state would not object to an OR.
All right. Well, that's good to know because that wasn't in the notes. Looks like she does live in Santa Rosa, California. So her ties are there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and release her. No contact with Grand Sierra. She'll be subject to testing and pretrial services supervision, given the facts of the PC sheet. All right. Carl Sabo. I
Her
think.
arraignment is August 27th.
All right. And that's gonna be for all of them?
Yes.
Your Honor, we did speak with Mr. Sabo. He did waive his appearance. We can't proceed.
Okay. All right, Ms. Valencia.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, in this case, the state is asking for $15,000 bondable with pretrial services, supervision, and testing. Based on the defendant's MPRA score of 13, he does have points for failing to appear. His criminal history includes, most recently, trespassing and possession of drug paraphernalia. In 2026, he has more trespassing and possession of drug paraphernalia. From 2025, he has a failure to appear and failure to comply arrests. He has possession of drug paraphernalia arrests with no dispositions from that year. From 2024, he has 2 failure to appears with convictions for possession of drug paraphernalia and trespassing. 2023, he has failure to appear, as well as 2022, he has 3 failure to appears. In 2021, he has 2, and 2020, he has 1. And again, he has arrests dating back to 2018, mostly possession of drug paraphernalia. It continues on before that. He also has a conspiracy to obtain use of credit card of another from the Second Judicial District Court. I believe that's a gross misdemeanor from 2019. So, Your Honor, based on his continually failing to appear as reflected in criminal history and similar offenses, the state is asking for monetary bail in this case.
And then, was he convicted of any prior felonies?
Your Honor, I don't believe so. My understanding is court's indulgence. Yeah, the prior Second Judicial District Court case is a gross misdemeanor, and I don't have any felony convictions.
All right, so do we have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. And speaking of Mr. Sabo, he is homeless. So any sort of bail is going to be de facto detention. I do understand his criminal history, as the state pointed out, but potentially there were no felonies. Also, I'd like to point out on the MPRA, there were no violent crimes. So I think that is pertinent information when considering bail. Based on all that information, I'd be asking for an OR release with pretrial service testing and check-ins.
Looks like he had a lot of issues with credit cards of third parties. At least that's in his criminal history as well. So I'm gonna set his bail, but it's gonna be $10,000, 10% cash. He'll be subject to testing, pretrial services supervision. Again, given the facts of this case. All right. How about, is it Mr. Tuafi?
Yes, Your Honor. So just with him, I'd ask for an interim bail. He was found not competent to proceed just about 7 months ago. So I just asked for an interim bail to be set.
Your Honor, the state would ask for $15,000 bondable, no firearm or weapons clause, pretrial services, supervision, and testing for drugs and alcohol.
All right. I also have no contact with Cassandra Kissel.
Yes, that is.
Sharon.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, so it would be $15,000 interim bail. No contact with both these individuals. subject to testing, shall not possess firearms or weapons, and pretrial services supervision. All right. How about next individual is an ad book case? It's Isaiah. Last name Yarofiasap.
Yes, Your Honor. So, I did speak, with Mr. Eurofrisap, and he did waive his appearance today, but we can proceed.
Ms. Valencia?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state is asking for $5,000 bondable with pretrial services supervision and testing based on the defendant's MPRA score of an 11, his 1 point for failing to appear, and his parole and probation hold. His criminal history reflects convictions for disturbing the peace in 2024, where he got a suspended sentence. He failed to appear in that case, and a bench warrant was issued. He has a felony conviction for lewdness in presence of child. He has a misdemeanor conviction for DUI and resisting in 2023. He has violations of conditions from 2021 with a disturbing the peace, in his disturbing the peace case. He has conviction for disturbing the peace in 2020, along with the failure to appear arrest in that year, and a misdemeanor arrest for domestic battery that was no issued in Reno Muni Court in 2019, but he does have a destruction of property conviction from that year. So based on his high MPRA score, the state and his criminal history, the state is asking for monetary bail to ensure his appearance and compliance.
What was the amount of the bail that you're requesting?
Oh, $5,000 bondable or 10% cash.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Mr. Watson?
Yes, Your Honor. And speaking with him, he was supposed to start a job Monday at JPI Warehouse. Admittedly, he does live at the CARES campus. And looking at the facts of this case, it looks like it's a very low level personal use of methamphetamine. I do understand that he does have the PMP parole hold. So no matter what happens, he at least won't be getting out if he's OR'd today. I'd be asking for an OR release or nominal bail with pretrial services testing and check-ins.
All right, so I am gonna set his bail, but it's gonna be $3,000 or 10% cash. All right, he'll be subject to testing, pretrial services supervision, but based on the criminal history as outlined by the state, I also think shall not possess firearms and weapons is also appropriate. All right. How about Eduardo Zarate? Do the first appearance first.
So, Your Honor, we did speak with him, but apparently he did refuse to come to court. I believe we can proceed.
So, Your
Is this
Honor,
the first time sorry, is this the first time he's refused?
This is,
Yeah.
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so you want to proceed rather than continue so you can talk to him?
If we can continue it today, that would be great.
Oh, well, Ms. Valencia, it is the first time.
no objection from the state, Your Honor.
All right. And then would that also be his OR bail revocation hearing?
Yes.
Yes, continue.
Continue both?
Yep.
All right. Next is James Dean Chambers, followed by Travis Hall.
So, Your Honor, in speaking with Mr. Chambers, I'd asked to continue that one day, due to his health concerns that he was having.
All right. State have any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right. How about Mr. Hall? All right, Ms. Valencia.
Thank you, Your Honor. In this case, the state is asking for $5,000 bondable or 10% cash with pretrial services supervision and testing. The defendant scores a 12 on his MPRA with a 1 point for failing to appear. That failure to appear is reflected in his criminal history from 2026 with a misdemeanor conviction for possession of drug paraphernalia. He has 2 possession of drug paraphernalia convictions from 2025. In one of those cases, he was granted community court where he failed to comply and a bench warrant had to be issued. In 2024, he had a misdemeanor conviction for carrying a concealed weapon and trespassing. In the trespassing case, he failed to appear at his arraignment. Of note, he has a 2021 gross misdemeanor conviction for attempted burglary of a vehicle. He has a felony conviction for attempted grand theft auto in 2019. He has a violation of probation in 2020 with an obstructing misdemeanor conviction. He has another failure to appear arrest in 2018 with convictions for possession of stolen property, possession of drug paraphernalia, destruction of property, resisting, and of more significance, in 2011, he has a felony conviction for bank robbery, aid and abetting, and 2007 felony conviction for enter a motor vehicle. So based on his MPRA score and his criminal history, the state is asking for monetary bail.
All right. Mr. Watson?
Yes, Your Honor. So I'd be asking for an OR release today. He does have a place to live and he can test daily, based on his representations. He also has a friend that he can stay with. But we were unable to contact his reference to verify, but he also, based on his representations, works at Urban Pipe Fitters instead. I think based on that information, he is not a flight risk. I believe he would return to court. I'd also like to point out his MPRA, he does have a high score, but none of those are violent convictions or violence related. This is a possession of a controlled substance, so I think testing and check-ins would also be appropriate.
Ms. Valencia, when you were going through criminal history, I believe you indicated that he had a conviction for carrying a concealed weapon without a permit.
Yes, Your Honor, in 2024.
Watson, I would otherwise agree with you. However, he has too many failure to complies in his criminal history, so I am going to set his bail at 5,000 or 10% cash. He'll be subject to testing. Shall not possess firearms or weapons. Pretrial services supervision. All right, that's a relatively low bail. All right. How about Marvin Rios?
So, yes, Your Honor, we have competency concerns with him as well, so I just asked for an interim bail to be set right now.
All right, Ms. Valencia?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state is asking for $10,000 bondable with pretrial services supervision and a stay away order, no contact order from the university campus.
It does seem like he was in these certain buildings more than once. So I have the UNR campus, specifically the Raggio building, 80 UNR Way, Manzanita Hall, Juniper Hall, which is a 41 UNR Way. That Raggio building is at 80 UNR Way, excuse me, Manzanita Hall is 40 UNR Way. It'll be subject to pretrial services supervision. And is there any weapons concerns in his history?
He does have, I see some arrests for batteries, actually, and convictions from 2022, and some assault. So I don't see any felony convictions though for, or arrest for violent crimes, but there are arrests for battery and assault.
Yeah, I'm gonna add shall not possess firearms or weapons, especially if they're competency issues. All right. Next is Anthony Santos, followed by Savannah Sides.
Santos.
All right. All right, Ms. Valencia, we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is asking for $5,000 bondable or 10% cash with pretrial services supervision and testing. The defendant scores a 12 on the MPRA. He does have a an arrest for burglary of a business, I believe, out of Carson City. Is where he had a warrant. He has a open Reno Municipal Court case. He has, from 2026, he has 2 arrests for probation violations, and he was just recently dishonorably discharged from his Second Judicial District Court case he was convicted of in 2023 for possession of a controlled substance sale. From that point, he also had a 2025 probation violation arrest. In 2020, we see another violation of probation. In 2019, he has a resisting conviction. He also has a failure to appear arrest. He has a felony conviction for uttering. He has another felony conviction for attempt use ID of another in 2016. That year, he was also arrested for failure to appear and convicted for possession of a controlled substance felony. Looking back, he has a conspiracy to commit grand larceny, gross misdemeanor conviction from 2006. He has a burglary felony conviction from 2008 and a false imprisonment gross misdemeanor conviction from 2014. And Your Honor, I can't understand my notes, but he does have another felony conviction from 2006. Maybe for transport of controlled substance. So Your Honor, based on his high MPRA score and his criminal history, the state is asking for some monetary bail and his noncompliance with probation violations.
Right. Mr. Watson?
Yes, Your Honor. We were able to speak with his reference, his mother. He can stay with her, or does stay with her. He's been there about 3 months. He's been in the Washoe County area his whole life. So I think as far as being a flight risk, I think that's pretty low. He is not currently employed, based on what his mother had told us. I do understand the state's concern, but I would like to point out that this was, I guess, residue, or burnt residue, and it's pretty low level. So my ask today would be bail in the amount of $1,000 or 10% cash with the pretrial service testing and check-ins.
Looks like he also has a hold, he was arrested because of this Carson City warrant. Again, $5,000 or 10% cash, which is $500. It's important that in this case and others, that the defendant have some monetary bail. And again, this is a nominal amount. So I'm gonna set his bail at $5,000 or 10% cash. He'll be subject to testing and pretrial services supervision. All right.
Thank you.
All right, how about Savannah Sides? Yeah. All right, are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is asking for monetary bail in the amount of $10,000, bondable, no contact with Kaylee Sides or 4500 Mir Loma Drive, number 392, no drugs or alcohol clause, and testing for alcohol. Your Honor, I understand the defendant scores a 4 on the MPRA. However, I do note that she lists her sister's address as her own, and so that causes concern for the state. I'm asking for monetary bail because of the violent nature of the charge of attempted home invasion and of the facts, Your Honor. Her criminal history also reflects a arrest for battery on a protected person out of Lyon County from 2022 with no disposition, and a 2019 misdemeanor arrest for domestic battery out of Sparks Municipal Court, not once, but twice on 2 different occasions, one in February of that year, and I believe one in May of that year. So based on her arrest for violent crimes, the violent facts of this case, the state would like to ensure the safety of the community and is asking for monetary bail to be set.
All right, Mr. Watson.
Yes, Your Honor. In speaking on this side, she's 26. She does work as an electrical engineer. She does have her associate's degree, and she's been in Reno for the last 12 years. As the state pointed out, she does live with her sister where this incident happened. We did contact her reference, and they said that they could stay, or she could stay with her at her residence, which is in Dayton, Nevada. We also talked with her other sister, and that she's been employed. We verified a phone number. So, I mean, really the MPRA, the only points that she would really have are just her points for her age, which are 2 points. I think that's a very low MPRA score. There's nothing to show that she won't return to court, or I think safety to the community. I think it's appropriate to have a no contact order with the address or with the alleged victim in this case. I think that is appropriate. But I think an OR release is also appropriate. And with that, I'll submit, Your Honor.
And then you said you were able to verify she has a different address to reside. Do you have that address?
Yes, Your Honor. It's 362 Royal Troon Drive in Dayton.
Okay. And this is a family member, or do you know?
Girlfriend, I believe.
Okay, all right. So I actually believe this court had issued a restraining order against Ms. Sides. So we've got that also in play, I believe. I believe some appropriate bail in this case would be 5,000, 10% cash, not the 10,000. No contact with the address, which is 4500 Mir Loma Drive, apartment 392, and Kaylee Sides, shall be subject to testing, must reside at 362 Royal Troon Drive in Dayton, and should be subject to supervision by pretrial services. All right,
Did you wanna do the public defender with her?
yeah, and then I've already signed appointment of public defender. All right, until you want to retain somebody, miss, you had indicated you were gonna retain. But for purposes of this hearing, I've appointed a public defender and also other hearings until you retain counsel. All right, and that new lawyer has to file a notice of appearance. All right,
We don't know what to do.
Okay.
Sorry.
all right, how about Sandra Soltero?
The GRO for, the last person we did,
Alexandria?
Anthony Santos. You never gave me that one.
Oh, yeah, I just have to make one change.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I clean
Okay.
that up. Okay. Are we able to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state is asking for $10,000 bondable with pretrial services supervision and no contact with Teresa Grieve or Alex Mowat, or their address. The state is asking this based on the defendant's MPRA score of 7. She does have a Sparks Municipal Court case and a California case. She's only been in the area for 5 years. In 2026, her criminal history reflects a failure to appear. She has a 2024 misdemeanor arrest for domestic battery out of Reno Municipal Court, which was dismissed. She has an arrest for false statement and unlawful camping out of Sparks Municipal Court that same year with no disposition. And she has another obstructing and refuse to leave arrests out of California from 2024 with no disposition. And it looks like a 2018 misdemeanor arrest for prostitution out of Las Vegas, which was dismissed. Your Honor, the state's main concern is the safety of the community. As Your Honor read the facts of the case, I want to point out the vulnerability of Miss Grieve and just the violent nature or the violent actions of the defendant when she got upset about them having to ask her to leave based on management, and also her arrest for domestic battery in the past and her failure to appear. The state believes monetary bail is appropriate.
So I'm assuming, did you, because we've had some other victim type cases, has the state notified victims of this case?
Your Honor, it looks like that we were not able to make contact today. If Your Honor would want to continue to tomorrow so the state could make contact, I would request that.
All right. Mr. Watson, did you want to add anything?
Yes, Your Honor. In speaking with Ms. Soltero, we were able to confirm a different address for her. Or sorry, it was the same address, but she was being kicked out, as the state pointed out. That's what caused this incident. She could go back to our place. She has been in the Reno area for 4 to 5 years. We were also able to get a phone number verified through her reference. So I think that takes her MPRA score down to maybe a 4 or a 5, making it a low or maybe a middle, in the middle pack. I do understand the state's concern. I think a no contact order is appropriate with the address and the alleged victims here. I think that is appropriate, but I also think an OR is appropriate so that she can get out and take care of the things that she needs to take care of. There's nothing to, I guess, show that she won't appear at court. There's no FTAs as far as I can see, except for the one. I think that's maybe a traffic ticket or something of that nature. And With that, I would submit, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue this case, given the facts. Because this Teresa Grieve obviously looks like she's someone that's vulnerable, so. I think the judge should hear. From Teresa Grieve.
May I speak, Your Honor?
You need to talk to your lawyer about that, miss. All right, and then given the facts of the PC sheet. I mean, the victim is entitled to be notified prior to this hearing. So the state should have at least an additional day to do that. And then, Mr. Watson, you want to address this issue with her speaking to the court?
No, Your Honor, I just advise her not to.
All right. It's generally not wise to speak, miss. And your lawyer's
Understood.
advice. We'll be back tomorrow. After they've notified the two individuals, Teresa and Alex. All right,
Mhm.
well, here's this one. All right,
Here's this next rules. You denied it.
yeah. All right, so next is Montserrat Zaragoza. Then Alexandria Ontiveros. All right,
Your Honor, in this case, the state has been going back and forth between an owner cognizance release and a $2,000 bondable with 10% cash, pretrial services supervision, and no driving. The state is mostly concerned with the defendant's score of a 9. She was just convicted of a DUI in 2026, and now she's driving on a revoked driver's license. I recognize that it's a misdemeanor. However, it's a very serious misdemeanor, as I believe there's mandatory jail time that can be imposed with it. Otherwise, though, in her criminal history, I just see a misdemeanor conviction for minor in possession of alcohol from 2025, reflecting again that substance is an issue. She is currently on a suspended sentence with Reno Municipal Court for her DUI, so I believe there would be supervision there. Also concerning the state is that she was stopped because she ran a stop sign. So she's not only driving when she's not supposed to, so she's not compliant, but also she, she's not driving safely after being convicted of a DUI. So, Your Honor, that's the state's in between. That I've given you all the information I have, and I'll submit it to you.
okay, Mr. Watson.
Yes, Your Honor. I do understand the state's concern. She has been working at Tesla, though. I think her MPRA score is inflated. She's been at Tesla for the last month. She's been in a Sparks address, 858 La Sierra Court, for the last 3 months. She's from Reno, Washoe County. She can go back to live with her mother. We did speak with her. We also verified her phone number. So I think the MPRA score is quite inflated. I think it would probably be more of a 4 or a 5 with all the things that we were able to verify through the reference. I'd be asking for $1,000 bondable with 10% cash and pretrial service check-ins.
And then the address, you were able to verify that she lives at 858 La Sierra Court in Sparks?
Yes, Your Honor. That's with her mother.
Okay. All right, so I would agree. I'm gonna set her bail at $1,000 for 10% cash. She'll be subject to testing. She can't drive without a license, registration, or insurance. She must reside at 858 La Sierra Court in Sparks. And she'll be subject to pretrial services supervision.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Right. The next person is Alexandria.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. All right, Ms. Valencia, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. The state is asking for $10,000 bondable pretrial services, supervision, and testing in this case. The defendant scores a 10 on the MPRA. The reason we're asking for monetary bail is the defendant's criminal history. She has conviction for resisting in 2026. She has a battery conviction from 2023, which was reduced from a domestic battery. She has another battery conviction that was reduced from a domestic battery in 2019. And in that case, she was arrested for failing to appear and her probation was revoked. In 2018, she has a misdemeanor conviction for battery, which was reduced again from a domestic battery, and her probation was revoked then. And she has a 2017 misdemeanor conviction for disturbing the peace, reduced from domestic battery. So based on her high MPRA score, her criminal history with violent charges and some non-compliance, the state is asking for some monetary bail to be imposed.
All right, do we have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. So in speaking with her, she's 32 years old. She doesn't currently work. She is waiting to get housing. She's on a couple of lists. She's been in Reno for 12 to 13 years. I think, the credit card without consent is, I think, the most serious charge here, and she has a possession of drug paraphernalia. So I would just ask for an OR release with any other conditions that you'd find appropriate, including pretrial services, testing, and check-ins.
I'm gonna set her bail at $5,000. All right, and that's 10% cash option. No contact with Christopher Williams. Subject to testing, pretrial services, supervisions. All right. All right, so I'm showing that Alexandria was the last individual. Is that accurate?
That's what I have, Your Honor.
All right, so have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Your Honor.